All right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to get some office hours review going here. What's up, Sanjay? How you doing, man? Let's see. What's up, Ankita? Ethan, how you doing, man? I'm more active, yeah. We're back in session. School is back in session, which means the streams are back in session as well. And also there's some political debates happening, which I'm trying to stream because I'm watching them by myself, so I might as well stream. You know? Yamin, might as well stream. Yamin. You know what's crazy? The heck is that Kahoot pushes their subscription thing, which is $6 a month per teacher, but I keep continuing for free. Alrighty. What's up, Prabhav? How is life? Life's good. You know, I think you can't complain about your life when you think about all that's happening right now in the world. Can't do it. You can't. I think some people have the right to complain. I am not one of those people. So life is good. I've been getting back into exercise after a long sort of stint of complete laziness and lack of any regard for my own health and safety, because I just took like 2 months off of any exercise at all, and then I ended up getting back on it a little bit slowly. So, you know, life's good. Summer was good. It was as good as it could be, you know, considering the lockdown. Summer was good. I was able to actually see my family who live in Vermont. So I took a risky move and I flew across the country to spend some time with my family. But other than that, just sort of hung out. Had to cancel a trip. I had a plan to go to South America for a month and a half to visit places like Colombia, Argentina, Peru, but I had to cancel that, obviously. And now I have a ton of flight credits from all these South American airlines that I don't know how I'm going to redeem. I guess I'm going to have to go back to South America. Ankita, what did I think of yesterday's debate? Oh man, I would agree with you and pretty much everyone else when I say it was an absolute waste of time. And in fact, maybe worse than a waste of time. Maybe actually a negative use of time, in the sense that all we really learned was that a debate is not a useful way of demonstrating any sort of intellectual ideas or interesting political policies or anything that would be of use to the voter, aside from just watching what I would describe as a public bullying and just a lack of decor, and essentially a sort of a little bit of a sort of a shame on the whole political scene. Now, I don't think, like, politics in general tend to not be the best, at least of late, the representation of what you would call like the best of humanity. But this was an absolute. As I heard one person call it an absolute. What did they say? I heard someone call it a dumpster fire in a train wreck in a something like that. Probably you tore your meniscus. Ouch. Those are not easy to recover from, dude. I've had 2 ACL tears, and those are no joke either. But a meniscus, I've heard, is really painful. Yeah, I don't think you can really fly anywhere right now. You know, unfortunately. Advait, you didn't like the debate either. Yeah, I don't think anyone. I haven't heard a single person whose take was that they liked the debate. The only people that might like the debate were probably Trump fans, or people that were like diehard Trumpians, so to speak, because it was just Trump doing what Trump normally does. And so if you like Trump, you probably liked that. But then again, I don't know, you know, aside from any sort of political stuff about Trump, I just think his behavior and his sort of mentality when it comes to approaching civil conversation and the use of like facts and things like that it's just it's an unfortunate representation of the country. I've been playing I've been trying to get back into Factorio. So I'm playing the tutorial again. But this game is, I can already tell that I'm going to actually enjoy this game. Yep. Yeah, I agree with the whole idea that there wasn't a So here's the problem with debates, right? So I would almost think like, should we even have debates, or should we try and create something that's more of a conversation or a dialogue, where it's not like we're not trying to score points, but what we're trying to do is have individuals like listen to maybe each other's points, and then try and like respond with like coherent critiques rather than just like slanders and mudslinging and personal attacks, these kinds of things that don't really do anything useful insofar as like bringing the debate forward and informing voters of who they should vote for, you know. Srimaya, we played Among Us last week. If we have time at the end of today's stream, because we're going to play a Kahoot, and I want to answer some review questions for the bio test this week. If we have time at the end, I could fire up some Among Us and play a couple rounds. I don't know who Jojo is. Advait, is Jojo a political commentator or like a YouTuber or something, or a streamer? Yeah, Prabhov, last time we played, we had enough people in the stream that would join, so I just made a lobby of 10, and it was just sort of first come, first serve to get in. And we had played Honor Code, where you turn the stream, you mute the audio of the stream, and you don't look at the stream while playing if you're playing in the game, so you don't cheat. Jojo is anime. Okay, thanks, Nathan. We are going to do a bio Kahoot Advait. I'm just kind of waiting for a little bit to let a certain amount of people get in here. So right now we've got 28 people. I'll probably crank up the Kahoot in like 7:08. I'll give it another like 5 or 6 minutes. Oh man. What's up, Drew? Nice to see you. I appreciated our little convo last night while watching the debate. You made me think about affirmative action a little more deeply than I had before. See, I'm playing the tutorial right now, and I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to be doing. Craft and build a lab. Okay, so I need to build a lab. Combat, intermediate product, production. There's a lab on here somewhere. Assembling machines, strong furnace. Wait, where's the lab? How do I know how to build a lab? Ooh, I can change my character color. We're going purple. Purple. Purple, boys. Purple is school color. I mean, anyone can play in the Kahoot. I'm just gonna open it up. I'll probably. The one problem with Kahoot is that it does have the ability to get sort of tampered with. People can kind of come in and be a little subversive and mess with the. You can bot spam it. Okay, I gotta build a lab. Now the question is, how do you build a lab? Like, it should tell me the requirements to build a lab. Boiler, steam engine, mining drill, pump. Shoot, I think I missed the tutorial, or I missed the instructions for how to build the lab. All I know is that I need to mine as much as I can. It's kind of funny to play this game a little bit as an environmental science teacher, because I know that like what I'm looking at here is a ton of carbon dioxide emissions by burning coal and a lot of environmental degradation by mining and extracting minerals. I kind of feel the same way when I play Minecraft. It's a little bit awkward for me as a person who would sort of say when I teach like the downsides of environmental exploitation and industrial processing, but yet go play a game that's basically a environmental destroyer simulator. How are we doing? I think I'm not going to be able to. I got to come back to this because I don't even remember what to do. So let's kind of get ourselves situated here. I'm going to get the Kahoot pulled up. All right. Let's see. Wait. Joji. Wait, no. Jojo. Wait, are you talking about Joji? Who was the pink guy, Filthy Frank, and then now he's like a music artist who makes some pretty good songs? You're talking about Joji? I thought you said Jojo. It's different. Okay, Kahoot. Let's get going here. Let me find. So for everyone here, we have 30. So we have 38 people. We're gonna play a Kahoot, but also, by the way, so the way that these sort of streams are going to work when we have a test is that I'm going to open it. It's going to be kind of open for questions. So if you have a question, you can type it in the chat. And if it's something that I feel like is an important question to discuss, I'll answer your question and kind of maybe go over it a little bit. And then if I miss your question for whatever reason, like the chat goes too fast and I miss it, just retype it. Sometimes that happens. And then, so most of the times the structure of these streams before a test will be more open-ended, where it's sort of like a Q&A. You can ask as many questions as you want. And then usually I'll have some sort of Kahoot that we can use as like a structured part of the review. So for today, I have a 36 question Kahoot on ecology. And I'm just perusing over the questions to make sure, because this is one that I think was from previous years. I just want to make sure everything is still aligned with what we learned this year. So Sanjay, yeah, the quiz score will overwrite your bio test score. So for example, let's say you got a C on the bio quiz and you end up with a B on this exam. I will go back and change your quiz to a B. Basically, it's a matching policy. Now, it does, but the only way I'll match is if it's a better grade. I won't downgrade your quiz. So let's say you got an A on the quiz, but you get a B on the test. I won't go back and downgrade your A to a B on the quiz. So you'll still have the A on the quiz, and now you have a B on the test. So it's only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. Krish, is this the same Kahoot as the one in Miss Chow's class? Could be. I think it actually might be, yeah. So if you played, so some other bio teachers played this in class. I didn't have time, so I saved it for my office hours review. So you may have played this already. Yeah. What's up, Mr. Chang? How you doing, man? Nice to see you as usual. I want to come out to the Stanford Dish, and I'm trying to find new places to hike. You know what's crazy? I feel like hiking has become way, way more crowded because of the pandemic than it ever was before. You try and go for a hike now on like a Saturday or Sunday, and everyone is out there. It's because people are trying to get out, I think. So Nathan, is the ecology unit review like the test? Good question. Let me pull up. Let me pull that up. So let's take a look at the ecology unit review. So ecology exam. Are you talking about this one, Nathan? This review guide here? This is not like the format of the test. So the test is multiple choice, right? This is just more open-ended questions that's prompting you to recall important ideas that we learned throughout the unit. Right? And if you have questions about any of the questions on here, this is a good place to ask as well. Okay, Mr. Chang, it's not too crowded out there. That's good to know. I'm trying to find a place that's a little less crowded. Don't be too nervous, everybody. I think don't let your nerves for the test overwhelm you and make you do worse than you would have otherwise. Just remember, it's just a single test. There's always a chance to redo tests in my class, so if you don't do well the first time, you can always retake it. And then as far as the actual day of the test, when you're really nervous, it can make you not concentrate as well, and you end up sort of potentially misreading a question or sort of having a hard time understanding it because you're not able to focus too well. Sanjay, it's going to be by percentages. It's going to be by percentages. All right. Are we ready to play a Kahoot? Guys, are we ready? We're up to 40 people, so that seems like enough people. But I don't want to start and then have people come in and not be able to join. By the way, just a little public service announcement. Last night at about 2 a.m., I was awoken by a really loud sound that I was unsure what it was. It sounded like screeching metal. And so I go to my window and I look out my window and I look down on the street. And what I see is a car parked next to another car with two hooded figures basically on their knees trying to like do something under the car. And I hear a screech again, and they both grab something from under the car, stand up, get in their car, and then like they speed off. And so what I'm pretty sure I witnessed, I tried to like catch the license plate, but I just couldn't see. It was too dark. But I'm pretty sure I witnessed someone stealing a catalytic converter. So just be aware that that's a pretty common crime that's happening right now, is people going around and stealing catalytic converters, which is essentially it's part of the exhaust system of a car that's used to basically capture and filter out certain pollutants to help make the exhaust cleaner and more environmentally friendly. But apparently you can sell catalytic, I just looked this up today. But apparently, right, so catalytic converters, why thieves steal them. So apparently there's like precious metals in these devices, and they're easy to steal because they just sit underneath your car. And if you have like a certain tool, you can kind of really easily pull it off. But they have copper and other metals, and you can sell them to like a scrap yard for, I guess they say, from anywhere from $50 to $250, depending on the type. But it costs the person who you stole it from about like $1,000 to replace it. Right, so like any vehicle after 1974, which is when catalytic converters were mandatory for vehicles. Yeah, so if you have a car, or you or your family have a car parked on the street, just be aware that that sometimes happens. There's not much you can really do to stop it, aside from maybe having like motion sensor lights to deter people, those kinds of things. But yeah, this is a weird trend that's happening right now, is people stealing catalytic converters. And it's not an easy, it's a pricey fix. It can be thousands of dollars. So just be aware that that's going on. I talked to it was funny because this morning I went to grab a cup of coffee, and as I was leaving, I saw the people whose car it was like investigating, like they were looking under their car, and I stopped and I was like, hey, I just want to let you guys know what I saw. I saw, what looked like 4 people in hooded sweatshirts, and it was what I think was a white Infiniti. It was at like 2 a.m. and they're like, yeah, we heard something too, but we weren't sure what it was. And I'm like, I'm sorry I couldn't get the license plate for you, but it's kind of a bummer. All right, I think we're ready to start our Kahoot. So let's do the Kahoot first. By the way, while we're doing the Kahoot, if you have questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Okay, let's play this one. All right. Actually, okay, I think this is gonna be right here. Ooh, I gotta turn the volume down because that's just loud and annoying. Let me adjust my... Okay, ready? So I'm gonna so a couple things to keep in mind here with the Kahoot is that there is a delay. So the delay, as far as I remember, is about 7 seconds. I think it's 7 seconds delay. So what that means is the timer on the question, probably I should increase it actually, to be honest, so that you have more time. Shoot. I should make it 30 seconds. Give me 1 second. I gotta make it so the questions are a little more, you have more time, because it's gonna be really tough if it's only 20 seconds, because you lose like half of that just waiting for the delay. Also remember, just a couple things. Use appropriate names, please, when you sign on here. If you don't use an appropriate name, I will kick you. I'm gonna kick you out of here. Save your inappropriate names for the privacy of your own home if you have to do something like that. Almost ready to go. Almost ready. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. I'm going to move the screen over, and you may use the pin to join. You guys see the code? Wow, I hope that the delay is not terrible. Man, my camera is not... Something's wrong with my camera's... It's too dark. I'm gonna give people another maybe 30 seconds to get in here. 30 more seconds. Said like 10-second delay, 20-second delay. Is it literally a 20-second delay? Because if it's a 20-second delay, that's really bad. Because right now I have it set for each question to be 30 seconds. So if it's a 20-second delay, then you have 10 seconds to answer, which is probably not enough time to read and answer the question. That would be annoying if that's the case. Because it's a... Wait, is it 25 or 10? Because those are like two very different things. It's 15? All right, here, we'll start it. And then we'll start it, and if it's too hard, right? Like if people are having not enough time because the delay is too bad, we'll stop it immediately. I'll really quickly up the time and we'll start again. So let's give it a test and see how it works. Here we go. It looks like most people are saying 20, which is still gonna make it pretty tricky to get it right. All right, here we go. Let's see how it works. Ooh, let me move my camera. People are saying it's so delayed. Okay. So, okay, clearly it's too delayed, right? After 1 second, clearly too delayed because literally half the people answered. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Here, let's do. Okay. So no worries. I'll fix it. Easy fix. Yeah, everyone got kicked because I have to fix the. I have to fix this. I have to make this a little bit louder, or not louder, a little longer. Oh wow! All it can go from 30 to 60. Okay, so we're just gonna do. I guess this is what we'll do. Do a minute per question. That's insane. I didn't want to have to do it this long. I thought there would be like a 40-second option. So as I'm fixing this, anyone have any general questions or like any questions from the unit review guide that they want me to answer, or general questions about topics that they feel like they were confused about or would like me to explain? Just as a reminder, the topics that we're covering is pretty much everything that we've learned this year, so it's pretty comprehensive. For example, let's see, we started with characteristics of life, biotic and abiotic factors, so you should remember those kinds of things. What makes something living versus non-living. Then we transitioned into a little bit of stuff about like food webs and food chains and the different kinds of energy flow through an ecosystem, the 10% rule. We talked a little bit about producers versus consumers. What else did we talk about? And then we talked a little bit about water. Okay. So I just changed all of it to 60 seconds, so that should be plenty of time, including the delay. So what you should expect is that you will get a big, probably 20 to 25 second delay here, which is obviously a little bit problematic trying to play. But let's get started. See what we do here. Hopefully this works better. Pranav, one of the questions asked about for issues to aquifers when the water gets depleted. So a couple things. If you deplete an aquifer, if you drain an aquifer of too much water, what can happen is, one, you get subsidence where the land actually collapses a little bit. That's one thing, subsidence, which can lead to some real like issues if you have any like buildings on that land or if you're trying to use that land for any way. Another thing is when you drain an aquifer too much, one, you just lose access to fresh water. So that means your water, you can deplete your water sources. And then secondly, or thirdly actually, is if the aquifer is near a coastal area, what can happen is when you drain the fresh water out of the aquifer, you can get something called saltwater intrusion, where some of the ocean water, the salty ocean water, sort of sneaks in and fills into the aquifer a little bit, which can make the aquifer salty and therefore ruin it for any use. Yeah, Ashi. Yep, awesome. Ashi got it, both of those right. Rakshita How many questions are on the test? It's going to be 42 questions and 1 short answer. Alrighty. Hopefully, the delay isn't too bad now. Let's do this. Kahoot.it. Here we go. Let me know if things get a little sketchy again with the delay, but they shouldn't. Even if the delay is long. Yeah, so Nathan, it's always going to be delayed. That's just the way it is. When you stream, what's happening on my end takes 20 seconds to get to you through the stream. But you should still be able to play because you have to look on your phone and you have to wait for it to appear on the stream to see the answer choices. And then once everyone answers, it should automatically go forward. And I can also skip if I feel like. Pranav, you counted the delay was 13 seconds. That's not bad. That's not bad. 13 seconds isn't bad. The only downside is I think 60 seconds is too long and 30 seconds is too short, but they don't have a middle ground. All right, nice. Easy peasy. Good question there. Good stuff, good stuff. I'm going to go. So my plan is I'll go through these pretty quickly. And if there's one that like everyone gets wrong, I'll take a moment to explain. All right. I will say one thing. These Kahoot questions are going to be, I would say, a little bit easier than the questions on the test. That's the one thing to consider. Because these questions are very basic as far as just getting the main concepts. All right, good job. So this one, what happens as a result of global warming? So pollution is a little bit of its own thing. Pollution can lead to global warming, like pollution with greenhouse gases can lead to global warming, but global warming doesn't in and of itself cause pollution. Let me see here. All right, cool. So just the thing to remember about water is we've got a few different things that we can do to make water more sustainable. And it was part of the Jigsaw article you read. So remember you and your group, each of you read one article and you summarized it, and then you exchanged ideas the next day or the next time we met. So we've got gray water, which is this idea of water that you use that has already been used but isn't like really, really contaminated. It's usually just got a little bit of soap in it or something, or it was used for something very mild, but it's not like wastewater from like a toilet or something like that where it has like human waste in it. So you can use gray water for things like watering crops. Rainwater harvesting systems are just ways to gather water that when it rains. And then climate change will affect water availability, which is true because when the climate changes, droughts become more likely, which reduces the water availability in certain areas, things like that. This is a little man-made water cycle question. What's up, Jack? Alrighty. 2 possible answers here. 9 of you selected this one, selected red. House to water treatment plant to SF estuary. Keep in mind that this needs to say wastewater treatment plant. Water treatment plant is where the water comes from. Once it's been treated, then it goes to the house. So these two are reversed. But if this said wastewater treatment plant, then that would make more sense. Alrighty. So Moon and Jupiter in the lead. Nice. Good job. Everyone pretty much got these ones. So just a couple of terms here to remember. Sedimentation. This term of sedimentation here is essentially when occurs in the ocean when organisms that have died in an aquatic environment settle to the bottom of the ocean floor, and over time they form layer after layer and they pile up, and that generates these sediments. And eventually that gets compressed over time and can form into things like sedimentary rock. And potentially fossil fuels can be trapped in those sediments as well to create coal, oil, and gas that we might use as a way to harvest later for energy. Not like way later, like millions of years later. Does anyone know of an easy way, anyone that's tech savvy out there know of an easy way to hook? I would be interested in hooking up something to my computer that I can use to write, like to draw, like maybe like a tablet, like a cheap tablet that I can draw and hook it up to my computer so that it can be like a monitor that I can share that screen either on Zoom or like when I'm streaming, I can capture that screen on a monitor as a monitor, and so people can see me write stuff. So if I want to explain something in writing, I can use a pen rather than having to use my mouse, which is like impossible to write. Anyone have any ideas about that? Is that just a simple like buy a iPad and hook it up or something? Wacom drawing pad. Let me see. Wacom drawing pad. All right, which this one's pretty easy peasy. So remember, CHIPO stands for climate change, habitat destruction, invasive species, pollution, population, and overconsumption / overexploitation. Is anyone going to overthrow our celestial bodies of the moon and Saturn in the lead there? Wacom. So I'm seeing a lot of Wacom. A lot of people are high on Wacom. Am I pronouncing that right? Wacom? 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 I'm looking at it right now over here and I'm seeing You know what's cool about OBS is I can input like a window capture and then capture like this window. And then I can, oops, sorry guys, and make it smaller and over here so you can see what I'm browsing at the same time as, although it's really small. Dude, these are not cheap though. Oh wait, this one's pretty small. 79 bucks. All right, how do we do on this one? Why is a virus considered to be abiotic? Good. Yeah, so remember, viruses are a weird edge case here when we talk about living versus non-living. They're like the most controversial one where it's not as easy to lump them into a category of living or non-living because they have some characteristics of life, but they're lacking others. If you ask most scientists, they would probably lump them in as non-living because they just don't quite match up to what we would consider living, but they do have some characteristics. All right, looks like our leaderboard, we have Moon, Saturn, Monkey, Ninja, Rick, and Catherine. Good job, guys. So what is this? If I have an iPad that's relatively new, you can just use an Apple Pencil. Get an iPad and you can just connect it to your computer. Okay. I mean, this thing does graphic drawing tablet. Oh, so it's literally just, it's not a screen. It's not a screen, so you just use the pen on here and it shows up on another thing. Okay. 80 bucks for something like this. It gets good reviews. What do the 1-star reviews say? Too old, don't buy. Too small. It broke after 8 months. Okay. The biggest contributor to a loss in biodiversity. Looks like we've got a little bit of a mishap here. I would say it looks like kind of an even mix. Half the people got it right, half got it wrong. Okay, what is the biggest contributor to a loss of biodiversity? So here's the thing. Habitat loss is currently the biggest contributor, but the predictions are as we go forward, climate change might become that as it gets worse in the future. But currently, habitat loss is. So all of you who picked red, who picked climate change, stick around for another 50 years and you might be right. Your boy Ivan, will this be available? Yeah, so the way I have this set up is at the end of this, you should be able to access it and practice on your own. Yeah, Alice, just get an iPad. That might be the best move, just to get an iPad. You know, that's something that's pretty simple to do. And the upside about an iPad is you can use it for other things too. It's multi-purpose. Yeah. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. No one picked green here. So what happens to the 90% of energy? What happens to the 90% of the energy in an organism? This is kind of a badly worded question. I'll be fair about it. It's not really great worded. So we know. Wait a minute. Hold on a sec. What a sec. What happens to the 90% of the energy in an organism? Wait, this question is not a good question. Let me just kind of parse this real quick. 90% of the energy in an organism. Oh, okay, I see. No, I see what's happening. So only 10, okay, yeah, right, the 10% rule. So only 10% makes it into the next trophic level, which is why the answer that's not right here is yellow. Right, so of the 90%, red obviously works because organisms need to use some energy to keep their internal conditions stable, which is what homeostasis is, right? So one thing, this might be a good place just to quickly pause and talk about homeostasis versus metabolism, because students get kind of confuse these two terms. So homeostasis is when an organism wants to maintain an internal environment. So they want to keep their internal temperature stable, they want to keep their like blood sugar stable, they want to keep like the pH of their blood stable, like all these conditions that keeps the inside of an organism's body different from the outside and the way it needs to be. Now, metabolism is all of the reactions that take place inside of an organism. So metabolism can be used to help an organism maintain homeostasis. So for example, when an organism does cellular respiration and they use sugar or glucose that they ate in the food to make ATP, that ATP can be an energy source that an organism would use to maintain their internal body conditions. So you need energy to maintain homeostasis. How do you get the energy? Through metabolism. So they're connected, but they're two different ideas. By the way, I noticed not a lot of people are directly asking me questions in the chat, which is fine. I just don't want you to not be asking me questions because you don't know that you can. So as we're playing this Kahoot, don't feel like you can't also ask me general questions. Like if there's a question from the review guide or a question from the Quizlet or anything that you have that you want clarification on, or just any kind of topic in general. Like you could even say something like, hey, can you explain, photosynthesis for me? And I can try and explain it. Just to show you this real quick, I got confused here for a second. So I was looking at customer reviews of that Wacom tablet, and I was looking at some things where people were like drawing, and I'm like, wow, that's a nice drawing. That's really nice. That's the Game of Thrones guy. That's cool. A little sensual, so a little weird. And then there's this one. I was like, that's cool. And then I saw this one. I was like, wow, that's really good. And I realized it's actually just a person. Got goofed. 1355. Ecosystems with a low biodiversity. Maybe what? Again, badly written question. Maybe At a greater risk of collapsing, yes. Be at a greater risk for disease, yes. Not be affected by any new changes, no. Be more resilient to change, no. Right? It's all bad. Pranav, what are the 3 places that water can go when it leaves a household? All right, the 3 places water can go when it leaves a household. Number 1, it goes to the sewage, the sewage tunnel. Right, goes to the sewage tunnel. Once it goes down the sewer, it eventually goes to the wastewater treatment plant. Right. And then after the wastewater treatment plant, it goes to the either to the bay in our case for living here, or it would go to a local river or creek in some other places. If you live off the grid, yes, exactly, Ashi. If you live off the grid, it can also go to a septic tank that you might have if you're not connected to a sewer system, right? So let's say you live out in the boonies, right? Maybe not directly in the in a city. You might have your own septic tank. Rakshita, can you tell us what the short answer question is about? Yes, I will give you a hint. This is what I call a live stream Mr. Jones exclusive hint for those of you that showed up to the live stream and stuck around for the hour. It's going to be about global warming and climate change. Which of the following accurately matches the types of gas released with activity? Carbon dioxide burning of fossil fuels, methane gas, increase of cow production. I don't like the phrasing of this word, cow production. Turtlefish. I like the name turtlefish. There was one time I laughed really hard at a student nickname on here, and it was Fish Biscuit. It made me laugh. Fish Biscuit. I think it's just because the way it sounds. Like some things, just the way they sound is hilarious. Fish Biscuit. Also, I wondered what the heck a Fish Biscuit was. So yeah, the short answer question is going to be about multiple, will be related to global warming and climate change. So you'll need to be very confident with explaining, with understanding what kinds of things can lead to global warming and climate change and what some of those impacts are on the Earth. So I would highly recommend reviewing the the climate change flowchart that we worked on in class, the Google drawing. That's a good one. And obviously the slides where I went over some things. Okay, this is true or, so this is a weird one, right? This is a confusing question. I 100% agree with you. Who said that? Advait, yes. True, false. Without humans, no heat will be trapped on Earth. What this is basically saying. So, by the way, this is a student-made. Kahoot. So this sometimes we have TAs who are former bio students who did really well in bio, and we would like them to come back. They're knowledgeable about the bio, but sometimes they're not the best at writing questions. And so sometimes you get these awkwardly phrased questions. So apologies for that. By the way, for those of you that are in bio this year, if you find yourself enjoying bio and you want to become a TA or a lab assistant next year, feel free to let your teacher know. And it's possible, depending on how well you did in bio, that you could be help out and maybe write some better questions. Let's see. So this one's weird. So without humans, no heat will be trapped on Earth. So that's not true, right? Because the greenhouse gas effect would exist regardless of whether humans were here. It's just that humans are leading to an increase in the issue. Andrew, you like my cut? What barber do I go to? So I will say I go to. So first of all, I got my hair cut in the summer during pandemic by a one of the employees at my girlfriend's restaurant, and she did a really weird job cutting it. She almost gave me a. I don't know if you've seen the show Peaky Blinders. Let me show you a picture of what I kind of looked like after I got that cut. This is almost what I looked like after. Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders. You can kind of see on this side a little bit still, where it's like that really hard line, but it's kind of grown in a little bit, so you can't really tell. Is the music too loud? And then after that, I got it cut at a place called. I normally go to a place that's nearby me called A Plus Cuts. A Plus Cuts. By the way, if you haven't seen the show Peaky Blinders, it's a great show about the IRA, the Irish gangsters, basically. It's actually pretty violent, so don't watch it until you're 18. What are examples of climate change? An area becomes more humid every year. Sure. A wind blows 10 miles an hour stronger every year. Sure. If it starts snowing in December when it usually rains. Sure. If it's sunny one day and rainy the next, right. So basically this question is trying to let you know that there's a difference between climate and weather, right? If it's just a day-to-day thing, it's weather. If it's a long-term change, it's climate. What's up, Ava? Ava, how is global warming a positive feedback loop? Good question. So there's a lot of different feedback loops involved with global warming. So global warming in and of itself is not a positive feedback loop, but there are things that are happening that lead to global warming that can be positive feedback loops. So let me give you let me actually pull up the slide I used as a way to sort of explain this. I think that'll be easier. In my class we talked about. Oh, you are in my class, Ava. We talked about. I think three feedback loops. Which of the following terminologies are interchangeable? Autotroph and producer, consumer and heterotroph. Yeah. Yep. Remember, global warming and climate change are not the same. Are not the same thing. One leads to the other. So global warming can lead to climate change, but they're not exactly the same. Dude, I feel we need to get on the same astral plane as our celestial leader here. Whoever this is has been in the lead for quite a while. Which slide? This one. So here's Ava, if you recall. Oh no, this isn't the right. These aren't the right slides. Shoot. Week 6 slides, I think, is the one we want. If you recall this slide, 3 examples of positive feedback: permafrost melting, Arctic ice melting, and desertification. So the middle one here. This one right here is probably the most important one, so I'll explain that. So, Mohammed, I'll answer your question, and Advait, I'll answer your plagiarized question in 1 second, but let me just finish answering Ava's question. So, Arctic ice melting. Let me just advance this real quick, which as long as the correct we're going to 2 carbon cycles. Yeah, okay. So Arctic ice melting is an example of a positive feedback loop because ice is reflective, right? Ice is reflective, so when it reflects light from the sun, it decreases the sun's ability to heat the earth because there's less radiation and absorption of heat occurring by the dark surfaces of the earth. Now, as the earth gets warmer, some of that ice melts, so you have less available surface area to reflect light. And so what it means is you expose more darker surfaces like the ocean, which absorbs more sunlight, and that turns into heat energy, which heats the earth, which melts the ice more, which is less reflective, which is now more heat is absorbed and retained on earth, which leads to more ice melting, and so on and so forth. So this idea of a positive feedback loop is when the effect causes an increase in the effect, and it just sort of loops positively in a direction of increasing effect. Did I explain that correctly? If that's still confusing, feel free to ask a clarifying question. Ooh, let's look at this one. This one, we got a lot of folks got this one wrong. All of you who picked red. When blank is diffused into the ocean, the pH of the ocean, blank causing ocean acidification. Wow. Why did everyone answer increases? Maybe people just forgot that when pH goes down, the acidity it's kind of confusing. So when pH decreases, acidity increases. So something that is more acidic has a lower pH, which can be confusing. Sometimes people just think like, oh, something's getting more acidic, so that means the pH must be increasing, right? More increasing. They think of those two things together, but it's not the case. Opposites. Let's see. Let me answer Mohammed's and Advait's question. Why did the carbon levels in the atmosphere change/fluctuate each month? Why is there more carbon in the air in some seasons compared to others? Okay, so that question is related to the amount of photosynthesis that's happening on Earth. So yeah, and I see Shrimaya answered that. Shrimai. Am I pronouncing your name right? Shrimai or Shrimai? I want to make sure I'm getting that right. And I appreciate you helping with that answer, by the way. By the way, when people answer other people's questions in the chat, it's really helpful for me because it allows me to not have to answer every single question. And I know that a lot of you guys know the answers to the questions people are asking. And so when you contribute that way, it's really helpful for me. So again, thank you for doing that, those of you that do that. So I think, the idea is that during the winter months, plants lose their leaves, they go dormant, some of them die, and they don't do as much photosynthesis. And so carbon dioxide is not removed from the atmosphere nearly as much in the winter. So what we end up seeing is an increase in carbon dioxide during the winter months. Then when spring rolls around, the plants begin to regrow their leaves, new plants begin to grow, vegetation increases, photosynthesis therefore increases, and plants start to pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and the carbon dioxide levels decrease, and then they increase in the winter and they decrease. So it's all because of plant photosynthesis throughout the year, and how it changes. Ivan, what's the difference between climate change and global warming? The difference is that global warming is basically the process of an increase in the average temperature on Earth due to a stronger and stronger greenhouse gas effect because of the contribution of carbon dioxide from human activities like burning of fossil fuels, raising livestock, and deforestation. And so that's just an increase of temperature on Earth happening. Climate change is what happens as a result of global warming. So as the Earth increases in temperature, what you end up seeing happen is that long-term weather patterns begin to change because the Earth is hotter. So as the Earth gets hotter, you start to see climates change, like places might become more dry than they used to be as droughts become more common. Other places might see a difference in seasonality, maybe shorter winters, right? Things like this. So climate change is what is a result of global warming. I think I will maybe take a minute. What question are we on? 20 out of 36, slow. I want to take a minute to maybe go back over that climate change diagram to help you guys with a short answer, or just direct you to show you. All right, looking pretty good, looking pretty good, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Ooh, Ninja has come in here and taken the lead. I don't know how long. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the leaderboard. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we can. What time is it? It's 8:12. Stick around. Yep, it'll be climate change related, Ivan. Let's see. Looks like less and less people are still playing the Kahoot. I'm wondering if it's worth it to continue here. I don't know if people are kind of getting over it. Which of the following man-made? Yeah, this is a common one. A lot of students think aquifers are man-made. These are natural. Aquifers are natural underground areas for water. They're not man-made. This diagram here is the one that I wanted to draw your attention back to for those of you that are doing some last minute studying here to prep for the A level, or sorry, the short answer. This diagram here is a great diagram to understand. Like, I would just recommend you go and sort of reinforce this and be able to understand this flow chart, because it's highly related to it's highly related to what the A level will be asking you to sort of think about. So if you can understand a diagram like this, where you can trace the human activities here at the bottom of the diagram, where we talk about things like deforestation, raising livestock, and burning of fossil fuels, and trace it up to the eventual issues that arise, things like floods, decrease in biodiversity, water supply decreases, extreme weather events, and understand how everything is connected in here. This diagram will make you understand the causes and effects of climate change and global warming more than the average person would, and definitely more than probably our presidential candidates, based off what I heard last night in the debates, to be fair. I mean, all I heard about... So here's the thing about the debates last night. I was unaware that they were supposed to... that climate change was actually going to be a question, because I had read ahead about the questions that Chris Wallace, the debate moderator, was planning on using. And I did not see climate change on there, which made me a little disappointed. But then when he pulled the question out, he pulled climate change out. He was like, all right, here's climate change. We didn't really get to hear a good answer. We heard a decent answer from Biden. It was decent. Trump, I don't know, rambled on and on about raking leaves or something. That's all I remember. And didn't really give much good solid answers on climate change, unfortunately. Shemaya, how does extreme weather events lead to a decrease in water supply? That's a good question. Oh shoot, did I exit out of that thing again? Oh, here it is. Pick plays, Miss Trump or Biden? It depends on what you mean. Trump or Biden, like in what way? Trump, like as far as what? Who I'm voting for? I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for. But you could probably figure out who I'm voting for based off of my general sort of leanings. So how does extreme weather events lead to a decrease in water supply? So the way I think about this is, one, what is an extreme weather event that might lead to a decrease in water supply? In my mind, immediately goes to droughts, right? So if there's droughts, which is an extreme weather event, you're probably not going to have as much water just because there's a drought, you know? So in certain places where droughts become more common due to climate change, you'll expect to see a decrease in water supply. Did we do a waterways drawing? We did. We did a waterways drawing, Ivan. I will show you what it looked like. We did 3 Google drawings. We did a waterways first, then we did a carbon cycle, and then we did a climate change flowchart. I will show you the waterways one. Where is the key? Ivan, here's an example of the key for the diagram that we did for the connections of the waterway cycle. Oops. Ooh, which one? Let's see. Any other questions in here? Oh, people kind of talking a little politics here. My opinion of Donald Trump. My opinion of Donald Trump, just speaking purely, like not from a policy standpoint, but just purely from my my impression of him as an individual and based off of what I know of him in his public persona is that he's not the most responsible in terms of a lot of things. And I don't think that his rhetoric and the way he talks and his sort of disregard for facts and his constant lying and flip-flopping and accusing and his is very immature, very unreliable. And so it's something like that I don't really agree with, that kind of a personality. It seems very immature. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm blocking your question. It seems very immature. Sorry, I forgot that we're doing the Kahoot. My bad. My B. So yeah, that's my impression of him. Advait, can I give you an example of a test question? You kind of know the examples of test questions if you remember the quiz we took. Like, think about the questions that were on the quiz, their format, the way they were worded, their style. It's like that. They'll just be exactly like that, but just more of them and different, covering some different material. Amrita, you're wheezing? Are you okay? Don't die on us, please. Yeah, I can't give you like a specific answer without giving it away too much, you know? Yeah. So I'll just say, just recall as best you can the kinds of questions that were on the quiz, that style. Wait. Advait, Miss Lerner definitely did a quiz because all the bio teachers, we all kind of talked about giving a quiz. Maybe it was a FA? What's FA? Formative assessment? Not the formative assessment. No, formative assessment is something different. Like the actual quiz, the one you took on Schoology during class. Yeah, Eco 1 and 2. I like how we started out with about 40 people playing Kahoot, and now we're down to 15. This is a real Hunger Games. This is a real battle royale of Kahoot, seeing who can survive the longest. I'll reduce the volume. I'll reduce the volume for my own sake because I actually don't like that. Happy Gator. You had Hajarian last year? That's awesome. I think Hajarian's one of my BFFs, I'll be honest. Sad a little much. It's kind of sad this year that he's not teaching. He's off to teach teachers. He's a teacher mentor this year. But I'm glad to see you, man. Thanks for popping in. How was your sophomore year in remote learning? I hope it's going well. Which is not an example. All right, you guys didn't do really well on this one. Which is not an example of non-point source pollution. So this one, this is actually a bad question because it turns out that actually pollution from mines is not that traceable because there's a lot of mines that exist and it's hard figure out exactly which mine mercury came from. So the better way to just get to this question is, remember, non-point source pollution is one that comes from multiple sources, so that are not traceable, right? So if you looked at this list, I mean, probably the best answer is green here because it's probably the easiest one to trace. Maybe some of you missed this where it says which is not an example of non-point source pollution. What's up, Akash? Akash, speaking of survival of the fittest, nice to see you here. You're the real survivor. You're the real fittest if you're here from last year. Some other questions I missed here. Arya, it's talking about the second trophic level. Oh, that's not a question. Rakshita, will global warming increase the variability of climate? Yes. So global warming will make climate more unstable and will change, and you can have like more extreme climates and less stable climates. Yeah, Happy Gator, I agree with you. I really don't get why Schoology doesn't have a feature that hides things you've turned in. It's problematic for two reasons. One, like you said, it makes you more anxious because you're seeing things pop up for you that you've already done, and you're like, oh, it's like just annoying. It's kind of like, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm like, I have that sort of really, I don't want to use the term OCD because it's not actually OCD, but it's like a, you know, like a, they call it like a type A. Like, I don't like to see notifications like on things. Like if things are like, if I have like unread emails that like pop up, I want to get rid of the notifications. So that would drive me crazy to see something that I can't get rid of. And then the other problem is that because you can't tell if you've done something or not, sometimes you'll think you've done something, and even though it's still showing, you're like, well, it's still showing because it doesn't go away, but you actually didn't do it, and then you forget to turn something in. That's actually bad. That's like literally bad. So actually, Pick Plays, you asked a question earlier about how long should you study per day for bio. That's a good question. I think part of that depends on the student. I think some people, and I think this is just comes down to luck of the draw. Some people are just, you know, are better at learning things quickly than other people. Some people just remember things better for whatever reason, probably like a genetic reason, right? That's just, you got lucky with the way that you can study. And so they might need less time. So it's hard to give like a blanket recommendation because I think it's different for different people. I think some people are lucky and they can get away with less studying, and some people have to study a little more because it just requires more time for them. So I don't know. I would say, you know, depending on who you are, I would say like on average, I would say like a half hour is probably minimum. And then just like the more you can do, the better. Let's see. How long should you spend on one question on the quiz? So when you're taking the quiz, you want to spend you'll have about 50 seconds per question on average. 50 seconds per question on average. So you should spend no more. So I would say by the time 30 seconds has gone by on one question, you should be ready to answer it, and then give yourself 20 seconds to like just double check and confirm before moving to the next one. Scheduled time for office hours are always 7 to 9. 7 to 9. Ninja the Warrior, you will have 35 minutes for 42 questions, which is about 50 seconds per question. Tremaine, no, we're not going to use the textbook. It's just a reference material. I don't assign anything out of it directly. Nathan, for the whole test, we'll have a total of 45 minutes because you have 35 minutes for the multiple choice and 10 minutes for the short answer. What is up with this question? How are both answers right? Like, is it impossible to get wrong? The graph demonstrates which type of growth. This is actually wrong. So if you picked red, you got it right, but you should have got it wrong. This is exponential growth. Logistic is when it starts to taper off at the end. All right, we're coming down to the end of these last couple questions here. What's up, Nyanika? Doing a little Kahoot. First bio test is tomorrow for some students, so we're doing a little review stream using public transportation. All right, good. So Niharika, no, you will not be able to. So the way that Schoology, the Schoology quiz multiple choice is set up is that once you answer a question and move to the next one, you can't go back and answer and change your answer. So essentially you have to be really confident of your answer, and once you answer it, go forward and make sure that you are just really careful to not submit an answer before you're sure. So take like an extra 10 seconds to just do a quick double check to make sure you selected what you wanted to select. Amrita, how are pesticides such as DDT? Amrita, don't worry about that. That's a topic that we usually cover, but we didn't have enough time to cover it this year. So the idea of biomagnification is not something you need to know for the test. We did not cover it. And those of you talking about the schedule, yeah, so we have October 12th off. We have a Monday off. And so what happens that week is then on Tuesday we have a day that's got all 7 periods for 45 minutes. So it's like quick periods. And then the rest of the week is a normal week. Yeah, Mohammed, so exactly what Arya and Ivan said. It's a cause and effect situation. Global warming can lead to and cause climate change, but they are not the same thing. Pick plays. Do scientists stand together and think that climate change is caused by human activities, or do they mostly disagree? No, it's pretty unanimous. Most like meta studies that look at like the agreement of scientists on climate change, it's like 97, upwards of 97%. All right. So those of you that stuck around to actually finish the game out, we have our top three: Catherine in third, Rick in second, and in first place with the gold medal, getting all 36 questions right, is Ninja. Runners up, Turtlefish and Arya. All right. So, you should be able to go back and play this. I think you should be able to go back and play this. Let me see if I can put this in the chat. Maybe like I can put a link in the chat. Let me see. Yeah, Manu and Ivan, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now that should allow you to go back and use this for some review. Let me get that for you. Let me see. Share Kahoot. How do I do this? Maybe I need to make it public. Everyone off. Done. Okay, let me know if this works for you. Let me know if that link actually brings you to the Kahoot that allows you to play it. Does that work? Does that work? Does that work? Does that work? All right, it is 8:38. It is 8:38. Oops, I don't want to open my email on stream. I've made that mistake before, opening emails or a gradebook on stream. Always a bad move, inadvertent bad move. All right, so you guys, it's basically 8:40. So what that basically means is that we can. So I guess what I'll do right now is just throw out a quick any questions, anything related to the test or exam you would like to ask me at this point. This is completely open to fair game. Like I said, studying this chart is great to help you with the A level. Going back and looking at your video lecture notes, answering the questions on the review guide. Here's the carbon ways flow chart, is good for the carbon cycle. The waterways key as well, the waterway diagram. So you've got 3 Google drawings, all of which have some good information. And then you've got the review questions on not Google Classroom, on Schoology, that look like this, that are good too. And let me check something. Yeah. Office hours. I will be streaming office hours every Wednesday at 7. Unless there's like a special event that I'll do an off stream on. So for example, like yesterday I streamed for the presidential debate. So what I was doing, I was just playing a video game like I would normally do while watching it, and just people wanted to join and chit chat about it. They're more than welcome to. Things like that. So if there's any in particular event. But I think before we can maybe play what if we play like 1 or 2 games of Among Us before we leave for the night? Because it's not 9 o'clock yet, and I don't have to get off until 9. If people want to stick around and play a little game of Among Us, they can. And again, we have to go honor code. And I understand if people have to leave because they've got tests tomorrow, so don't feel like you need to stick around. Abhinav, wait, I did not get the metabolism part. Like, how does it differ than homeostasis? So, Abhinav, metabolism is the chemical reactions that take place inside of the body, right? Like photosynthesis, if you're a plant, or cellular respiration, these chemical reactions. And homeostasis is the ability for an organism to maintain internal conditions that are stable, like making sure the temperature inside is the same, their pH of their blood is the same, the levels of different nutrients or different chemicals are the same. Now they're 2 different things, metabolism and homeostasis, but they're related because metabolism will help an organism maintain homeostasis. Am I good at lying? That's a really good question. I think it depends. Sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm just absolutely terrible and I make terrible plays. So I think it really depends. It really depends. Let's see. Ava, you had another question. Once carbon is in a glucose molecule, where are the 5 pathways that the carbon could take next? Okay. Good question. Is this from the review guide? I'm guessing this is from the review guide. Oh, it's not on the review guide? No. Oh, here it is. Boom. Okay. So let's say you have, so you've got a glucose molecule. Okay. Let's assume it's in a plant. Is that what it says here? Yeah, it's starting from a plant. So you have glucose in a plant. So it was just made by photosynthesis in a plant. And so what could happen is the plant could use the glucose in cellular respiration, right? So you've got, so I would say like 1 cellular respiration in the plant, which releases it into the atmosphere. Okay, so it just leaves the plant right away again through cellular respiration. 2, it could be eaten by a primary consumer and end up in another organism. Okay, that's number 2. Okay. Siddharth, the review guide should be in Schoology. Manu, awesome answer there for the metabolism versus homeostasis thing. Really appreciate that. That's nice. Good stuff. Let's see. 3, the plant could die. Plant dies and gets decomposed and ends up in a decomposer. Decomposer. Okay. 4. Plant dies and is trapped in sediment and is buried underground, and the carbon ends up in fossil fuels. Okay? Number 5. Let me think. Number 5. Shoot, I'm blanking here. Does anyone have the number 5 here? What am I missing here? Cellular respiration. Plant does cellular respiration, goes back into the atmosphere. Plant is eaten by a consumer, ends up in the consumer. Plant dies and gets decomposed and ends up in the decomposer. Plant dies, is trapped in sediment, it's buried underground and becomes fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, decomposer, consumer, atmosphere. Am I missing something? Am I off here? What's going on? I mean, I suppose you could say plant is burned and is burned and through combustion ends up in atmosphere. Okay, well, yeah, it sure could end up in the plant, but that's not really where it would go next, because it would still be in the plant. Oh, I guess you might be able to say something like, plant converts the glucose into cellulose and it becomes part of the cell wall of the plant, maybe? Something like that? I don't know. Yeah, I think there's more than 5 that you could kind of go on, but those are kind of your big ones. What else? Neve, what are 2 ways that permafrost increases global warming? So one is, well, permafrost doesn't increase global warming. The melting of permafrost does. So when permafrost melts, what ends up happening is the carbon dioxide and methane and other greenhouse gases that are trapped in the frozen soil are released and contribute to the greenhouse effect, which ends up causing an increase in global warming. And another thing that happens is the decomposers that are trapped in the soil can become activated once it's thawed and they're no longer frozen, and they can start to decompose the organic matter that was also trapped in the soil. And decomposition is a process that releases carbon dioxide or methane, and again, contributes to the greenhouse gas effect, and worse than that, climate change. Did that answer your question? I gotta delete these so people don't have the answers. Hold on a second. Let me see something. There might be an answer. Would you, if there was an answer key to the review guide, would y'all be interested in me linking it in the chat? There may be one. Let me look to see if I actually had a TA make one at some point. Praval, you can't use your notes on the test. Obviously, that's an honor system thing. And also, you don't really have the super amount of time, right? So it would take you a long time to actually like look through your notes to answer a question. So it's actually better for you to not rely on them. No, you guys, you're wrong, actually. Sorry. Everyone who's saying yes is actually incorrect in answer to Siddharth's question. Do greenhouse gases have to have carbon as one of their elements? The answer is no. Sorry, guys. Andrew's the only one that was right here. So if you look up greenhouse gases, like water vapor is one. Now, like look up in like at Wikipedia. So, and like nitrous oxide is technically one that doesn't have carbon in it. right? So you have water vapor, no carbon, and nitrous oxide, no carbon. And I guess ozone's technically one too. But to be honest, the ones that we really care about and that we release a lot of do have carbon. So the big ones are carbon dioxide and methane. So these two are the real issues, carbon dioxide and methane. Oh, you were talking about if you want an answer key. Oh, sorry. Oh man, I thought you guys were all spitting incorrect answers to poor Sid's question. Let's see here. Let me take a peek again, see if I can find that. Let's see. Wait a minute. Ecology unit review. Actually, you know what? I have a key. All right, you know what? I have a key here that's like not directly connected to this one. So here we go. Okay, so what I'm sending you in the chat right now, you're gonna open this up and you're gonna be like, what the heck is this? It's not the same as this review that I have here. And it's because it's a different review, but it's a key nonetheless that might be helpful for you regardless, even if it's not actually connected directly to the review that you see here. See, I thought I had... This is actually, I think, Miss Chow's. So she's another bio teacher. Miss Chow has this one. So it's going to be very similar, but slightly different too. So it might be helpful for you. Sorry that it's not the exact answer key you might have been looking for. So I guess I don't have a key for this one that you're seeing on my screen right now. But then there was this one here. So maybe I'll link... So here, this second link, this is to the non-answer key version. So if you would like to have the different review guide and the key, now you have those two things as a little more practice. All right, everybody. So you know what? I think it's a little too late for us to play Among Us. And also, I think it's maybe not the best night to do a game here because, you know, we've got the test tomorrow. It's a little late. I'm getting a little tired. But then we have next Wednesday where it'll be a little more of a chill stream because we won't have to do so much review because there's not a direct test coming up the day after. So here's my proposal, is that we don't do Among Us tonight and we all go off our separate ways. You guys review a little bit more, but not so much. Make sure to get sleep. I go and go to sleep. I don't have to study. I hang out. And then next week, we rejoin. And for those of you that would like to play some Among Us, we'll have more time to do that. Does that sound like a decent solution here? I do not have a light-up keyboard. I do not. I have just a regular old wireless Logitech keyboard. I must admit that I'm not a hardcore gamer. You want a setup tour? I can't really give you a setup tour because I don't have a camera that I can like flip and show you. So my setup is basically, I have, you know, a wireless keyboard. I have a mouse that you can see, right? I can't lift it up because it's connected. I have two monitors. So I have a monitor right here. And then I This is the headset that I use. Whoops, when I'm playing a game that probably just broke. And I have a desktop PC that I had built. So the desktop PC I built in 2011. My first year of teaching, I remember getting my second paycheck from the job, and I took $1,100 from my second paycheck, and I decided to build my own PC. So I bought a CPU, I bought a case, I bought fans, I got power units, I bought RAM, I got motherboard, got all these things after doing a lot of research, and I put them all together. And over the years in between, I've upgraded RAM. I actually upgraded my CPU and my graphics card in those times. All right. Yeah, Mr. Chang, I'm still live. We're going to end here pretty soon, though, because it's almost 9 o'clock. It's getting close. We do get paid. You'd be surprised. We get paid. We get paid. We don't get the big bucks, but we get some bucks. We get a few bucks here and there. I will say this, though. Being a teacher in the Fremont Union High School District is probably the best place to be a teacher as far as compensation is concerned. The only places that get paid more than Fremont Union High School District is Mountain View High School District and Palo Alto High School District. But we're like the top. I get paid probably more than 99% of the teachers in the United States. So again, no complaining from my end. I have it's Intel. It's an Intel CPU. It's I have the what is it? Intel 70. No, shoot. What was it? Intel 7200? Is that a thing? i5? No, i7? Let's take a look. You can see I can open up direct. Like you can see my stuff here. So, what is it? i7 8700. Pretty good CPU. But I needed a good CPU to stream. That was the problem. Graphics card is GeForce GTX 9700. GeForce GTX 970. That's right. Yeah. All right. Mary, you don't need to ask me how much I get paid. It's public information. So any public employee who's paid, so public employees, we get paid based off of taxpayer money, right? So it's our salaries are public. So all you have to do is search FUHSD certificated teacher salary schedule, and you can see the kind of pay that teachers get there. It's hard to interpret so like if you just look up like FUHSD teacher salary and you look up the maybe this one, and this isn't right. Where is it? Like you can look it up on here somewhere. You would look up salary schedule certificated. No. Yeah, here. So it shows you like this is like how many years you've been teaching, this is how many units you have, and then this is your salary. And then there's like stipends for things like doctorate, masters, which are basically nothing. Like imagine like, oh, we'll give you an extra $2,000 a year for having a PhD. All right, everybody, I think we're gonna call it a night here. It looks like most people. Sid, I linked the review earlier. You can't see the message history? I'll give you 3. I'm going to link 3 things. That's one review. There is no key for that one. This is the second review. There's a key for that one. And then the key for that one is right here. There you go. All right, everybody. I think it's time to end this one. We are past 9 o'clock. So appreciate everyone for joining the stream. Thanks for the good times. I hope it was helpful. Hopefully I'll see those of you who are in my class, I will see you tomorrow or Friday. And I will see you then. Those of you who are not in my class, I wish you all the best on your test tomorrow. And maybe I'll see you next week during office hour streams. Always feel free to drop by, say hi, chat a little bit, maybe play some Among Us or some games, and get your questions answered first and foremost. But other than that, have a great night, everyone. Don't stay up too late. Peace, peace, peace be with you. All right, everybody. Have a good night.